Good day everyone, I am Celine Alcano from Group 11 and the topic that we're going to discuss is about Gagne's conditions of learning and principles. So what does this topic all about? This theory stipulates that there are several different types or levels of learning. The significance of these classifications is that each different type requires different types of instructions. Robert Gagne describes conditions of learning as a means through which individuals and groups acquire relevant skills to be accepted in society. And learning is a direct result of human behavior which is influenced by the environment and the individual thinking process of learners. So, the foundation of Gagne's condition of learning lies on the theories of behaviorism. Learning as a specific skills depends on previous learning skills in a logical and sequential manner that contributes to building a learning process. So now let's proceed to the Gagne's principles. So the first one is different instruction is required for different learning outcomes. The second one, events of learning operate on the learner in ways that constitute the conditions of learning. The third, the specific operations that constitute instructional events are different for each different type of learning outcome. And the last, learning hierarchies define what intellectual skills are to be learned and a sequence of instructions. So now let's proceed to the four elements that provide the framework for Gagne's conditions of learning theory. So the first one is conditions of learning. So there are two different types of conditions that exist in learning. The first one is internal condition. So internal condition of learning transform during the learning process. So for example, recalling prerequisite skills, interacting with a variety of ways with the new learning, and applying the new skills to range and variety of different situations and contexts. Then the other one is external conditions of learning. It is the conditions include different stimulus that exist outside the learner, such as the environment, the teachers, and the learning situation. So the next one is association learning. There are three basic prototypes of learning that demonstrate the characteristics of associative learning: the classical conditioning, operant conditioning, and verbal association. So, classical conditioning. It is a process where the learner associates an already available response with a new stimulus or signal. For example, a warm and nurturing teacher motivates students. Therefore, students learn to enjoy going to school. The next one, operant conditioning. The process where a response in a learner is instrumental and thereby leads to the subsequent reinforcing event. So for example, an operant conditioning in the classroom include providing stickers for good behaviors, loss of playtime through bad behavior, and providing positive and negative grades on tests based on the test results. So the third one is verbal association. It occurs when the learner makes verbal responses to stimuli that are words or pair of words. For example, a student learns being able to define medical terminology and apply it in a clinical situations. And the last is training. It is a process where the learner connects individual association in sequence. So for example, a child was learning to wash his or her hands independently may start with learning to turn on the faucet. Once this initial skill is learned, the next step may be getting his or her hands. So, that's all for my report. I hope you learned something. Thank you and God bless.